Good morning, class. In the previous video, we have done some basic concepts of integration, some formulas which we use in the integration. Today, quickly I will discuss some question based on the integration, and then I will jump to the topic that we were doing, that the motion in one dimension. So let's quickly see some example based on the integration. Before we done the examples, if you remember, the formula that we are going to use is integration of x to the power n dx is x n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus c, right? So this formula we are going to use. Let's take the example number 1. Suppose we have y equals to x cube. I'm taking a very small example. So now here take we have to find out the value of integration of y dx. And what is y here? Y is nothing but integration of x cube dx. Now compare this from the general result. You can see here our n is nothing but 3. So what is the formula? Formula will become x n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So x n is 3. So 3 plus 1 upon 3 plus 1 plus c, that's nothing but 1 by 4 x to the power 4 plus c, and that will be the answer. Let's take one more example. Example number 2. Suppose y equals to 5 x to the power 4. Alright. So integration of y dx. That means we are integrating y with respect to x. So integration of 5 x to the power 4 dx. Now if you remember, whenever we have constant multiplication or division, we take outside the integration or differentiation. So take this 5 outside, this will become 5 integration of x to the power 4 dx. Now in this example we have n 4. Formula is n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So what will become? It will become 5 x to the power 5 upon 5 and plus c will give you x to the power 5 plus c. So that will be the answer. So these two examples are having only single function. If two functions are in addition or subtraction, then let's take one more example. Example number, let's say 3. Y equals to 3x square plus 2x plus 1. Right? Let's do this. So we have to find the value of dy by d integration of y dx, right? So integration of 3x square plus 2x plus 1 dx. Alright, now we have three functions are in addition. We can solve this equation as integration of 3x square dx plus integration of 2x dx and plus integration of dx, right? We just opened our equation. Now you can say these 3 and 2 are in multiplication, are constant. So integration will be done of x square. So what will be integration of x square? That will be 3 common and x cube by 3, right? And x n plus 1 upon n plus 1 and plus c also, right? So I will take c outside. Okay, what will become this? This will be 2 x square by 2 and plus x, and here it is c. Alright, so when you solve it, you will get x cube plus x square plus x and plus c. So this is our integration of having more than one function, right? Similarly, if you have like function of trigonometrical function, you know the formula, like integration of sin is minus cos and integration of cos is sin x, and so on. You can solve them also. Okay, I told you that integration of two types, indefinite and definite. These are the indefinite integration where we put a constant in addition at the end of the answer, because we don't know what was the constant when we differentiate the function, right? So let's see the next we can say category of the integration, which is definite integration. So now, what is the main difference between the definite and indefinite integration? If you remember, when I give you the example of indefinite integration, that this is y and this is x, we have a graph like this. In indefinite integration, we don't know the boundaries, we don't know the, we can say, interval of the integration. But here we know the integration of interval. That means we know from where to where we are going to add. Like suppose in this diagram, suppose we have here initial value of x, that this is x1, and this is the final value of x, this is, let's say, x2. So we know the boundary, we know the we can say the interval in between we have to do the integration. In previous case we don't know the integration, we have to just add them, overall we have to add them. So now we have to add only this part. So how do we show this? We show integration of y dx, but dx we have intervals from where? From x1 to x2. We have to integrate only from x1 to x2, right? So when we solve it, how do we calculate? Let's see with an example. Okay, suppose we have to solve integration of let's say x cube, right, dx, where the interval of x is from, let's say, 1 to 2. It can be anything according to the question, right? So it means that we have to integrate dx from the value 1 to 2, right? So let's solve it. The first step is simply solve the integration like we have solved earlier. So x to the power 3, that means n is 3 here, will become x to the power 4 upon 4. This is the integration. Now the integration is done. We write it like this: limits 1 to 2. This limit is known as lower limit, and this is known as higher limit or upper limit. Alright, take the constant outside, that is 1 by 4 is constant, take them outside. So this will become 1 by 4 I have taken outside, and here we have x to the power 4 from 1 to 2. Now see how to apply the limit. It's quite easy. Put the values of limit in the place of x, right? How? Upper limit minus lower limit. It will be like this: 1 by 4 is common, upper limit is 2, so in the place of x we'll write 2, it will become 2 to the power 4, and then minus lower limit. So then put the value of x equals to 1, so 1 to the power 4. So here we have applied the limits. Now you can solve this. This will become 16 minus 1, that is 15, so 15 by 4 will be the answer. So you can see that in the limit we get a finite answer. We don't have any constant or any variable, right? So that's how we do the definite integration. Let's quickly do one more example in which we have more than one function. Then you will get a clear idea how to solve the definite integrations. Let's take example. Let's say we have to find the value of integration from limit 0 to, let's say, 1, and the function is x cube plus 2x square minus 1 dx, right? So what is the first step? We have to integrate them individually. So what will happen when we integrate x cube? We'll get x to the power 4 by 4. This will be x to the power 4 by 4. Now we have to apply this limit to the every function. Limits are from 0 to 1 plus 2 is obviously it's a constant of 2, so it will become x cube by 3. Limits are from 0 to 1 minus 1 dx will become x limit from 0 to 1, and I told you how this dx become equals to x. Let's quickly see how the dx become equals to x. Dx can be written as 1 dx, right? And 1 means integration of x to the power 0 dx, because anything to the power 0 is 1. So here n is 0. What is the formula? Formula is x n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So x n plus upon n plus 1, and that is why it gives you x. So integration of dx will be x. Now take the constant outside before applying the limits. So this will become 1 by 4 x to the power 4, limits from 0 to 1, plus this is 2 by 3 and x cube from 0 to 1 minus, it doesn't have any constant, 0 to 1. Now apply the limits. So this will become 1 by 4, 1 to the power 4 minus 0 plus 2 by 3, 1 to the power 3 minus 0 minus 1 minus 0. So we have applied the limit. Here we get 1 by 4 plus 2 by 3 minus 1. Now I'm not going to solve this. You know how to take the LCM. So we have done the definite integration part. I hope you understand this. So now I will show you why we have done this in between a chapter motion in one dimension. Because the next topic I'm going to do is required these applications. Alright, let's start our equations of uniformly accelerated motion. So let's start the equations of uniformly accelerated motion. Equations of uniformly accelerated motion. We have done this equation in the class 9th as well, but in the derivation of in the class 9th, it's quite a bit different. We have derived these equations with the help of graphs, right? But in the class 11th, we will not derive this equation with the help of graph. Instead, we will derive these equations with the help of calculus. So what are the equations? Let's see quickly. Equations were, first equation was, that was v equals to u plus at. Second was s equals to ut plus half at square. And third equals to v square equals to u square plus 2as. Right? What is v here? V is final velocity, u initial velocity, a acceleration, t time, and s displacement. So these are the quantities in this equation. As the name implies, equations are can be used only when the body is moving with uniform acceleration. These equations can't be applied like in the case of gravitation, because the gravitation force is we can say distance dependent force in the form of we can say like electrostatics also. We can't apply these equations, because in such cases force depend upon the distance. It is not constant, and if force is not constant, obviously acceleration will not be constant, right? So let's start the equations. These equations are solved by definite integration, and we have just seen that in definite integration we required boundaries or limits of the quantities, right? So let's say, what are the limits of the quantities? For that, consider this. Suppose we have 2 points. This is point, let's say O, and this is point, let's say A. O is a point from where the body started its journey. So when the body started journey, let the initial velocity of body is u, right? From O to A, body covers distance of s and it took time t, right? And when it reaches to the point A, the velocity of the body is v, right? That's it. So you can check, and obviously because equations are uniformly accelerated, so value of A will be constant. So the body is moving throughout with constant acceleration A. So what are the limits? Limits, let's see. When first talk about the time. Time is changing from 0 to t, right? It is from 0 to t, right? Then velocity. When the time was 0, that means initially what was velocity? Velocity was u. So velocity changes from u to v. So these are the limits of velocity. Displacement. When this body started journey, the obvious displacement will be 0 at that time. So it is from 0, and after covering some distance, after time t, it reaches at point S, right? So these are the limits of our quantity. Time changing from 0 to t, t can be anything. Velocity changing from u to v, right? And displacement from 0 to s, right? So please remember these limits they will use while solving the equations. So let us start our derivation with the first equation of motion. First equation. Okay. This equation relates velocity and acceleration. Now, what is the relation between velocity and acceleration in differential form? So if you remember, A is nothing but dv upon dt, right? Acceleration is the differentiation of velocity with respect to time. This equation can be written as dv, I am writing here, dv equals to a dt. We just cross multiplied this, integrating both sides. Integrating both sides. This will become integration of dv equals to integration of a dt. Here we have integration of dv. Now tell me what are the limits of v. That was from u to v. Okay, so limits, the lower limit is u, then the upper limit is v. Here we are differentiating t because a is constant. I told you because the name of the equation is uniformly accelerated motion, so a is constant. But what are the limit of time? That was from 0 to t. So it is from 0 to t, right? Now, if you remember, if we integrate dx, we'll get x. So if we integrate dv, what we'll get? We'll get v. Fine. So when we integrate this, we'll get v and limit u to v, upper limit. Here a is constant, and when we integrate dt, what we'll get? We'll get t, limit from 0 to t. Now you know that how to apply the limits. Upper limit minus lower limit. So upper limit is v and lower limit is u equals to a. Upper limit is t, lower is 0. So what we get? V minus u equals to at, or simply v equals to u plus. So you can see we have derived our first equation, v equals to u plus at. All right. Other two equation I'll do in the next video. Please try to solve this equation by yourself, and please try to we have some examples on integration and differentiation in your the very first chapter, that is the elementary mathematics. You will get an idea how to solve the differentiation integration part, because see, I'm again and again saying this is very important to understand the application of integration and differentiation in physics, right? Because so many chapters are coming in our way where in every derivation we use these concepts, and if these concepts are weak, so you find very difficulty. All right, so please try to solve them. Till then, thank you so much, class.